Well, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, or good night, wherever you are. Thanks for joining us for another Tuesday Tirade Entertainment Talk. And while we build up our audience, I was incredibly surprised and overjoyed that we would have the boss man himself of Midnight's Edge and Midnight's Edge After Dark and all those great things that happen over there. Andre's joining us today. Welcome, Andre. Thank you.
Greetings. Thanks for having me.
You bet. You bet. This is the best surprise of all. We get the boss man, and then of course we have the great and powerful Tom from Midnight.
I thought you were going to call me the great and powerful Oz. Damn it.
Well, I could.
Well, next time.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you need to have a curtain that you can be throwing some levers behind, and then of course we can certainly get into that.
You can pretend that I'm the mask and he's the one behind it.
Oh, well, there you go. No, actually, I think Andre technically would be the Oz, right?
I was going to say, I think it'd be the other way around.
Yeah. I would think so.
Not
Yeah.
let me control anything.
No, does that make Rob a flying monkey?
No, Rob's more like the cowardly lion.
Oh, okay, all right. And well, Mecca is going to be Dorothy then.
Put him up. And then it's like, why did you do that? Right? Well, I don't know why I did that for. No.
So Mecca would either be the good witch or Dorothy, right?
Mecca is Mecca.
Okay.
Like Mecca is a unicorn. She is her own thing.
Let's see. And I'll have to figure out for script, but yeah, I'm probably more like the straw man. So. But anyway, well, it's great that both of you are here. I actually, this is going to be kind of fun. We're going to see if we can find the hope behind entertainment today, the things that look like they might be changing on the horizon when it comes to entertainment projects and entertainment as a whole, and the things that we consume on television and movies, which I think are just pretty much going to be streaming going forward. I mean, we'll still get some theatrical releases, but do you think for over the next year, we're just going to have a lot of day and date stuff?
Absolutely. I think so. I think that the model that the studios have relied upon up until this point suddenly kind of like changed a little bit not overnight, but it changed over, and it's still changing because the longer the lockdown lasts, the less likely the previous or current model of theatrical window for like a few months before streaming and home media release is going to change. Because as it is right now, not all movies, of course, but like the blockbuster movies, they're like budgeted and scaled for a wide theatrical release. And that market just isn't there. You don't have enough theaters. And even if you have theaters, you're not going to have enough people willing to go to them. Of course, you have a few diehards that really value the theatrical experience. But I think most people, once they're used to being home and they know that comes with risk and all that stuff going to theaters, and they have the option of streaming a movie day and date, I certainly know in like my own situation with like kids and stuff like that, then I don't know how many people are going to want to take the risk to go back for that shared communal experience. I'm not saying that's a good thing,
Yeah, especially if the
but
quality of movies are like Wonder Woman.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh,
Exactly. I mean, the people that went to see that in theaters, boy, must that be like bummed. Because there's like, with me at least, like the last movie that I went to see in theaters was Tenet. And that was honestly a waste because I hated almost every moment of it. The last good experience I have in theaters was Sonic, and I'm kind of like happy with that. Whereas Tenet, I would have been perfectly happy to see from home.
Well, I got to get, because like me, it was like Rise of Skywalker and Birds of Prey, I think. So
Yeah, and
even worse.
and
Back to back.
Well, and I can agree with you on Tenet. I mean, it was very disappointing, and the theater experience added nothing to it. In fact, it may have harmed it because the audio.
No, I did see Sonic in between there, I think. But anyway,
yeah, the audio. Yeah, the audio quality was so rough. But no, Sonic was fantastic in the theaters, Andre. In fact, it was. It gave us an uplifting feeling, like we had some influence over its success, right? Because we were like, when the character models came out, when it was first presented to us, we're like, no, that doesn't look very good. And so they went about changing it. Although it could be argued they were already going to do that anyway. But it was incredibly I don't know, it was incredibly good. I enjoyed it.
To see it being successful. It was well earned.
Yeah, exactly. And we had a couple of other positive experiences in movies.
Yeah, we had some good movies this year.
Yeah, but it's well, I mean, we talked about Bad Boys. Yeah, 2020. We had Bad Boys, which was a good sign, right?
Bad Boys, Bill and Ted, Sonic, of course, as we just mentioned.
Yeah, you could still make
Fat Man, which I've now seen.
Yeah, Fat Man. Oh, you finally got to see that.
Yeah. So there is hope on the horizon. I mean, you can still do it, but maybe not in theaters, I think. And Andre, you were very eloquent about that. I think you're right too. I think we've broken the habit as a movie going populace here in the United States and then elsewhere around the world. I think. I mean, it looks like. I mean, we were shut down, of course, here in the States, but China beat the U.S. in theater box office this year.
Yeah, of course, because they don't have lockdown in anywhere same capacity that you have in the States. I mean, it's only the Western world that's on lockdown. People think that's the whole world. It's not. It's just the West. Yeah. It's just the Western economies that are on complete shutdown. Mm-hmm. China, apart from a couple of areas where people are welded into their homes, which is also bad, is full steam ahead. So and you kind of like see that there you have like you have the box office working in relatively normal order there for the Chinese movies. It's just that no one went to see Wonder Woman 84, for instance. So that movie was going to bomb anyway. But yeah, and when you, for instance, look at the UK, which right now are in a new heavy lockdown, like worse than it's ever been before, and it's probably going to be that way until. Well, they've notified at least until mid-February, but what they meant was until further notice, and that's all of UK.
That's terrible. When you have so many folks relying on some form of employee to feed themselves. I mean, in an industrialized country like that, that's a problem.
Oh yeah, that unemployment there is gonna skyrocket because everyone that is not working in like an essential industry, like everyone who's basically not not a nurse or works in a retail store, they all have to shut down. So they're all going to be unemployed.
That's amazing.
So
and terrible.
Yeah, absolutely. And then do people even have the resources to go to theaters, because concerts are out, ballets are out, sport venues are out, all of those things that usually cost even more money, they're all out. So you'd think that people would flock to theaters, but since you've been constantly told that if you do this, you might die. Or worse yet, the police might come and knock down your door if you go do this. And they're kind of like, well, what's the point? Then stay at home as you're being told to do.
Yeah, it's weird. And it was funny because I did a video on that specifically saying that the magic number for all of these entities seems to be $60 million. Or excuse me, $60 billion. They are all going to want $60 billion worth of help, and at a minimum, $30 billion worth of help. And that would be not just, theatrical, venues, but Hollywood in general, and of course the concert folks are going to want the live music folks want their $30 billion as well.
Yeah.
It's a problem. It really is, and but we do have we have positive things that we can look at, but it may not be actually in the theaters themselves, at least not for a period of time. And again, assuming the Western economies kick back into gear. Assuming at some point, people just either realize that, they've granted too much authority to those around them to keep them at home and from, earning their keep and taking care of their families. Once that's realized, I think you'll start to see some of that stuff come back. But I think that theater going is, again, I think it's been said many times by very smart people. Both of you on the panel have said it before, that habit is going to be gone. Just like the habit to watch and consume various types of entertainment has also disappeared as well. So I think that's where we're at. But now that we've pulled some folks in here in the first couple minutes, we'll say hi to everybody that's rolled into the chat. We're going to say hi to Lord Vader and Machiny 90. We have Apollo Patriot joining us today. We've got Lasso of Truth. Thank you for joining me. Very much appreciate that you followed me over from Orville Nation, where we had a great visit yesterday. I was very honored to meet with the showrunner, to get a chance to meet him. And Mazzoli is a very talented person and created a great show in Dark Matter. So that was a lot of fun covering season 2, episode 1. And I found that show to be very enjoyable. And I thank both PJ and Nina from over there. I thank them very much for bringing me to that show, because that was wonderful and glorious and great opportunity to talk about it as well. And of course, Ian's set design and everything else was wonderful. And so there was a lot to be gained from that yesterday. A great interview done by PJ over at Orville Nation. So if you guys haven't seen that yet, please check that out also. Eric DeHoff says, "Hey, Culture, Tom and Andre." Well, yeah, I'm very happy Andre's here. I was terribly excited. And then we've got Diablo Dame saying, "Happy Tuesday, Owl. Happy Tuesday to you." Hugh Photographer says, "The heart, the brains, the nerve." That's right. That's right. Oh, I love those old-fashioned Oz references. Are so great. Keck44 is here, if I can find a way to highlight his comment, saying, howdy, Keck, how's it going? Cavatanio Chase says, "The hope in entertainment is Cobra Kai and the Mandalorian model for the series."
Oh yeah.
I think that's true. In fact, that should be the thing we talk about next. We have an example of hope in whoops. Well, that's not it. Hang on. This is what I meant to share. We'll get to what Tom's sharing. Is the Mandalorian? We got to see it, especially in the very last episode, The Rescue. How aptly named that was. You have this amazing experience for the fans. The last 7 minutes of this episode was that gratification that we just talked about, that we also felt when we saw Sonic. And how Sonic was portrayed. We got to see a very reassuring glimpse of Luke Skywalker, and a potential and a future for Star Wars to move along a different pathway. So I have to say, Cavatanio Che, yes, I think you're right. I think The Mandalorian is an excellent model for a series. Andre, I know you have a strong opinion on this.
Oh, absolutely. I'd go so far as to say that The Mandalorian literally represents a new hope. And that's kind of like interesting, because unlike the Midnight's Edge panel, if you go back through when we first started reviewing The Mandalorian, it was kind of surprising to me, because by then, like, of the three of us at Midnight's Edge, just like myself and Tom and Rob, the two of them, like, they're hardcore Star Wars guys that grew up with Star Wars everything. As I have said ad infinitum, I don't really care about Star Wars. I never grew up with it. I have no nostalgic attachment to it whatsoever. Like, I like it fine, but it doesn't do anything to me, really. But when I saw The Mandalorian, I was instantly hooked. Like, if you had removed all of the Star Wars elements, every single Star Wars element from it, I would still have liked it, just because of the classic storytelling.
Yeah. And
that it was part of Star Wars, like, to begin with, that was something that I could, like, take or leave. But as the series progressed, I started to appreciate the whole of Star Wars in a way I never have before because of The Mandalorian. So
Wow.
it's kind of like funny because I've been like covering Star Wars for years, and when I've done my editorials on it, or even written the videos that Rob narrates, I've always done it with kind of like dispassionate distance because I didn't feel anything. So I just approached it as I would any other research topic. But thanks to The Mandalorian, I developed something of an attachment.
Yeah.
And towards the end there, when Luke Skywalker showed up, I got the feels too. And I've never even liked Luke Skywalker.
Wow.
Seriously, like what happened to him in The Last Jedi, I recognize it as an atrocity just because of the position in pop culture, but I didn't feel anything because Luke Skywalker in the year 2017 meant nothing to me. But when he showed up in The Mandalorian, that was an emotional moment, even for me. That's the power of the storytelling that is in Mandalorian. So I'm a huge fan of that series.
Wow, that's amazing. And you know what? It's kind of neat that you're able to talk about how you were, dispassionately covering something that was such a part of many of our childhood backgrounds. I mean, I grew up. I mean, the most influential film in my life, the very first film moment I remember in a theater, was a Star Destroyer flying over my head in A New Hope. Because my family made sure I saw that movie as a very young boy, and my goodness, I grew up with that nostalgia, that tug. So I fall in the same camp as obviously Tom and Rob, but it's really cool to hear your perspective, Andre, from somebody who came to it completely differently. And your appreciation for The Mandalorian is it mirrors some of the people that I know who, I would consider, more normie and less invested in the franchise. And yet they really get a lot of enjoyment out of Mandalorian. And I think you hit on the most important point. It's classic storytelling. Jon Favreau does a great job telling a good story. I mean, there's a lot of filler and stuff like that, and I've had my criticisms as well, but I think so. I follow along the same lines. Tom, you haven't said much about that.
Well, I know we only got Andre for a short period, but
Oh.
yeah, I mean, the Mandalorian itself, I've had my complaints about it and my criticisms, but for the most part, I've enjoyed it. Now, the last episode of this last season wasn't the best episode of the season, but it was a much better episode 8 than we got out of the Star Wars sequels.
Yeah. I really, yeah, absolutely. I felt, I don't know, that last 7 minutes really lifted the spirits of a lot of fans, and it really brought the community together. I mean, we had people that reacted to it that were made fun of by people outside of the community and everything else. And I know that Andre has to leave. Andre, is there anything that you'd like to say on the way out the door about anything else, more about Mandalorian or maybe Cobra Kai or anything else you feel hopeful about?
Real quick, the final thing that I would like to say about The Mandalorian is that it's done a great job in that it has actually succeeded in bringing new fans to Star Wars, which is something the whole sequel trilogy failed at doing. On the contrary, I think that there was a net loss in Star Wars fans because of it, whereas The Mandalorian reverses that. So that's pretty awesome. Cobra Kai, I have nothing to say about because I like it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Mm-hmm.
So there, Tom is your guy, and of course, right now you have like this. I saw that John Campea right now is debunking some news. No. Michael Keaton is not the new Batman going forward. And that's something that you can talk to Tom about because he debunked that thing on Twitter as well. And he did it in preparation because he was editing my editorial covering just that at the time. So that's still to come out.
Yeah, well, and that's something actually we were talking about backstage before you arrived, Andre. With that very thing, we were like, "Wow, how ridiculous was that?" So it's
that was
amazing.
ridiculous. I can't believe that anyone would jump to such a conclusion because they're like, Walter Hamada confirms. No, he doesn't.
No,
he literally says in the same interview that Ben Affleck is still there, but still, that New York Times interview that was that was a symbol of the depths that the New York Times have fallen to in terms of journalism. But
basically,
with
we got
that,
Ryan.
I have to bid you farewell, gentlemen, because
Well,
I have
thank
some.
you. Thank you so very much, Andre. I really appreciate you joining us today. It's a unique treat to have you on, so I appreciate it.
Before you go, you
absolutely.
might want to see this real quick, Andre.
Oh yeah, let me pop it up.
Disneyland is finally getting into the Marvel game.
There we go.
Marvel's Avengers Campus will open in 2021.
Yep.
I believe the expression is, well, that was about goddamn time.
Mike, too late.
Well, we've been working on it for a while, and Tom and I can certainly talk about it here in just a moment. Yeah, well, you see you see the Spider-Man up there. That's going to be done with. They're going to do something similar to that. You'll be able to see a real swinging Spider-Man through the use of something called.
I hope they do better than in Spider-Man: Turn Off the Dark, where you had like the
guy was breaking his legs.
But guys, I have to be running.
Okay,
take care. It was a pleasure to be here, and I hope to pop in sometime later.
Oh, that'd be great. Thank you, Andre. Appreciate it.
Yeah, certainly. Take care. Bye.
All right.
Now, too bad we lost Andre, because I wanted to get his take on this, because I wonder if this is a signification that Disney and Sony really worked out a hell of a deal this time around. Because like I said, notice there's a lot of spiders on there, and it's called Marvel's Avengers Campus.
Well, and
I don't think Captain Marvel's going to be the head of the Avengers anymore.
Well, I think you're going to see in here that they have an entire attraction built around Spider-Man. And you have a Pym involved in this area as well. There's a lot of things that I actually wanted to do a video on what Avengers Campus was going to be. And they had put a hold on it. They'd locked it down pretty good, and it stopped construction, obviously, during the course of the global issue that the crisis we're dealing with now, the pandemic and all that. But I'll get around to it. And of course, I'd love to talk with you about it, Tom, because there's a lot going into this. And again, you will see a swinging Spider-Man, if not once, twice, but a few times possibly, maybe regularly, a stunt-tronic, something that mimics the actions of a superhero that essentially repeats those actions multiple times. They launch them into the air to do these things, and then it lands somewhere else out of sight in a net. And then they just keep recycling this robot that can do these things. It's really cool. So they also are going to start utilizing those more often in films. You're going to start to see those types of things more often in films. Anyway, I want to acknowledge some more folks that dropped in. I really appreciate the new folks that have dropped in, especially Lasso of Truth. Thank you so much for being here. I've heard this opinion, and again, I have 4 family members that thought that Wonder Woman 84 was okay. Even after listening to me point out the things that I found fault with in the storytelling and how far it was not in character for the character based on some of the comic book history that revolves around it. But I don't necessarily want to beat up on that film any longer. There's a lot for us to talk about that's real positive right now with Hollywood, I think, including what Tom brought up here in the Avengers Campus. And you didn't have to stop sharing that, Tom. We can bring it back in just a second, but I really do want your opinion, because I didn't get a chance to get it the other day. Where are you feeling? How are you feeling about Cobra Kai? Something that's really super positive right now that gives you the good feels, like Andre was talking about. In season 3 that, unfortunately dropped all at once, which we can talk about that as well. But where are you at with that? Did you get it? Did you play catch up?
I watched it the night it came out.
Of course you did. We talked about that. So, and I know you've talked about it elsewhere, but I obviously want your take here. Is this something you want me to share right now, Tom?
Well, you can, but it's up to you.
Oh, look at that. Holy cow.
Like I'm obviously a fan.
Yeah, dude, we've had this conversation. If no one should doubt that Tom's a huge fan of the franchise.
I think we're going to see this fella next season, maybe.
I think we are too. There's a lot of room for this type of thing in the world. There really is for us to reach back and get more depth from these characters. And with this franchise, there's a lot there, especially with all the films that we've been treated to, right? I mean, even I think the last time we talked about this, you said there were things about the other films that I didn't appreciate that you said I should probably watch and
2, 3, and
again.
4.
No. 2 was fine and 3 was okay, but beyond that, 4, I can't really convince anybody that it's a good movie. Mhm.
But there's definitely some great stuff in there. I mean, of course, it falls apart in the third act, but
Yeah.
just the way it's set up, the dichotomy between Julie and Miyagi, and how it differs from Daniel and him, and just how she's a bit more of an aggressive student than even Daniel was,
Oh, yeah.
and how he deals with that, and just I mean, it has moments. I mean, there's
Mhm.
things in it that aren't necessarily bad. I mean, yeah, there's some hammy acting, and like I said, that final fight is really bad. But outside of that, the fourth film does have some elements to it that are not
Yeah.
horrible. And oh yeah, it's a very cheesy early '90s movie. There's parts of it like you're sitting there asking yourself, why would they even have bothered to make one without Daniel in it? Because
Mhm.
they didn't even ask Ralph Macchio if he wanted to be in another one. I think at that point, everybody had just kind of assumed he had moved on, and plus, he looked 30, so you know,
Yeah.
like, like there's no sense in trying to stretch that out any longer than you already had, and um,
We all get older, Tom.
yeah,
It
well, I
does
mean, they're
happen.
really struggling to hide his age in the third film.
No, they were.
I
Absolutely.
mean, and of course, you could have done a time jump from that point on, but then
Mhm.
he's no longer the Karate Kid anymore. But again, even a cameo would have been nice. Of course, the writing isn't nearly up to snuff compared to the first three films. Um, and again, I'm one of those who also sticks up for the third film. I think there's a lot of stuff in it
Yeah.
to enjoy.
I still enjoyed the second film so much. Marita was so good in that, and it was such a I felt good about that film.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
second one is a personal, like
yeah,
to me, the first and second film I hold very close together, like the
yeah,
Godfather
yeah.
2 kind of thing.
Yep. Yeah, actually, that's a great analogy. Absolutely, I feel that same way. Just for fun, I want you to read this because Martin Acosta Santana always sends this, and it's my favorite thing.
Greetings, my excellent friends.
Thank you very much. I love when you do that. And when you're around, you're always going to do that because it's my favorite thing. Man, we need Carlin. I say that every time. We need Carlin really badly.
It just
Loubrianna,
hurts.
yeah. Loubrianna Makara joins us, and that's great. Oh, no, I missed the best introduction ever. Yeah, it's
Go
always so
back, watch it, and then just hit refresh and come back
yeah,
here.
yeah, come on back. And again, yeah, there's no way theaters were going to be great after, and they're going to have a problem, with the stay-at-home stuff. Absolutely.
We'll see, I guess.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. Oh,
thing
and
is,
this is. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Well,
No,
I was
please.
going to say, like, the problem is we're having is, first of all, we need some kind of a vaccine, and the vaccine we've got now, you've even got nursing and doctors that are refusing to take the shit. So that tells you something. And
Yeah.
then, of course, you got the new reports of the mutated super version of the virus. It's like, oh, great, just what we needed. The new improved
Well,
model for this year.
and that's but see, and that's the problem is because they targeted in building something that would just essentially take care of the way that it infects the cells, right? By making knocking out the spikes so that it couldn't attach to anything. That's great and all, so it's not going to work on this new variant, and so the of course the dead body virus, the dead virus is the normal form of inoculation, and I don't know. I just feel like maybe that was the right way to go about doing things. But hey, I'm not a doctor. It
Yeah,
is something,
and I think
you know.
that's going to affect the theaters and theme parks and everything for the next year.
Yeah, we're gonna have to come to terms with the fact that at some point in time, everybody will have will have suffered this in some form or another, or may have been through it and not actually had any symptoms because that happens too. But
I'm hoping
anyway,
I'm the latter because
yeah.
I don't think I'd get through it if I got it. But
See, and there are people who share this sentiment along with me. I mean, think about this. I've been to Disney World twice since this whole thing started in the midst of it all. Once Disney World opened back up, I've been twice since they reopened their gates. And, our friend Jay, Drunk 3PO, he goes all the time. I mean, that's part of his gig, right? With his park hopping
Mark
channel.
Robin, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there are ways to mitigate, your exposure or to limit it anyway. But Marco Quest, this is the sentiment I share. I'd go to a theater in a heartbeat, but mine is closed. They could have made good money playing old Christmas movies. Oh my gosh, could you imagine re-screening Die Hard at Christmas in a theater?
You think Disney would allow that?
I don't know, maybe.
I don't know. I've heard them pretty picky about that.
Yeah. Hey, Lord Thoth, good to see you, my friend. We've got Kitty Bear NPC here. Hey, Kitty Bear. NPC's new for you, my friend, but good to see you. Matt Mardigan pops in. Yeah, I'm here as well. By the way, Casino, I have everything up for the Street Smart stream. If you're still interested, I am. We have to do it. I would like to do it in the next couple days. Excellent. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I'm cutting tomorrow's video already. So I should have a little time available tomorrow. I do have some projects booked at the end of the week with Drew and some others. But yeah, DM me, dude, please. You just DM me. You don't need to, but thank you for showing up, Matt. I appreciate it. And Lasso of Truth says the right thing. Cobra Kai rocks 100%. Alubriani Makar says Eagle Fang forever. You guys, this is so much fun. I'm so glad everybody's here. Eric DeHoff says, I'm enjoying Cobra Kai so far. I'm currently halfway through season 2. Awesome. Eric, finish it. You're going to dig it. I'm actually trying to finish. I'm taking my time with season 3. Let's talk about that because we can. Why are they still releasing amazing projects like this in a binge model? Why is Netflix still doing that? Why is Amazon even considering it with stuff? Why?
Well, Netflix, I understand a little bit more because it's always kind of been their deal.
Right.
I do still find it counterproductive. And again, this is coming from somebody who does enjoy the gratification of being able to watch the entire season in one sitting, but it does take away the fun of being able to talk about it every week for a couple of weeks. And I mean, and that's not even on the financial side of it as far as a channel, but just, I like the, unfortunately I get to have to sit through this fucking Star Trek Discovery shit for almost 20 weeks or whatever the hell it is. The least I could do is get something like this to be able to, because that's the best part is, the amount of speculation and all that kind of stuff we do in between each episode would be amazing. And I think if I know the creators aren't obviously listening, but if they were, I would hope that they kind of take that into consideration for the 4th season, and maybe possibly it could help get the other seasons out a little sooner because you could be filming the show as it's starting to air, like old television used to do.
Yeah, well, but you can really get people to grind away on it, right? I mean, think about it this way. Yesterday, like I said, mentioned at the beginning of the video or the live stream today, that I was on PJ's channel over at Orville Nation. Amazing channel, guys. By the way, subscribe to PJ's Orville Nation channel. But he had the showrunner for Dark Matter on, and I was introduced to that show because of PJ and Nina, and I am very grateful. I really enjoyed that opportunity. It was wonderful because, again, yesterday we talked about one episode of the show, and it took us the better part of 2 hours. And could you imagine the kind of promotion that all of the YouTube community would be giving to good shows like Cobra Kai, talking about each episode for 2 hours? I mean, look at what we've done. I mean, unfortunately, you release it all at once, and you end up with maybe a week worth of shows from channels like ours. But and I just feel like you get more out of it. I mean, obviously.
Well, I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah. Oh no. And then and it is. I know this was in reference to earlier when Andre was here, and he just didn't have a connection to Luke Skywalker, but he said it hit him in the feels when he showed up in that episode. So yeah. Tega says, "Let the past die." Mandalorian. This is the way. Guess who was right? I don't know. I think it was the Mandalorian. What do you think, Tom?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a step in the right direction, that's for sure. But no, going back to the whole Cobra Kai thing. Yeah, I think it would be a lot more interesting to sit there and talk about the more nuanced beats of each episode than it would be just the whole beats of the entire season, which is what we've kind of been stuck to do. Yeah. And again, like I said, it would be so much fun to be able to talk about it for 10 weeks.
Yeah. Or 13. I mean, as I'm starting to see that a lot of these streaming models are using that 12 and 13 oftentimes. So kind of mimicking what Sci-Fi
has been pretty rigid at 10, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but you see that fluctuation 10, 12, 13 somewhere in there.
Yeah, but
Odd that Mandalorian's at 8. But I can understand. I mean, Favreau's got a lot of other stuff going on at the same time. He is the consummate writer showrunner guy. I mean, really. He's doing so much.
and the
They
thing
can't
and the thing with Cobra Kai is like I do enjoy watching it all at once because each season has been like one big long movie. So like I don't have a problem with that aspect. And again, I love the instant gratification of, not having to deal with a cliffhanger for a week. But then again, that's also being taken away from us. So I do understand, where that part is. And then there's just the business aspect of it.
Yeah.
Especially considering Netflix just grabbed this show. It's one of the biggest shows out there right now.
Yeah.
We've got a whole bunch of people who just discovered it. And like now you've shot your wad for your third season, and where do you go from there? Like you could have held on to subscribers for a couple of months. And I mean, I know Netflix isn't as worried about that, but you have the other aspect inside of it, like we were kind of getting to, is like, it's going to go out of the public thought process for a while.
Yeah, the zeitgeist. Yeah, it disappears from our zeitgeist, absolutely, and we don't think about it anymore until we get word that the next season is coming. And and you know
a
what?
year is a lot more than a few months.
Well, in the Netflix, the Netflix does need to worry about subscribers now, Tom. I mean, they really do, and so much so they just kicked. Do you realize how much they are kicking their sub up now? You're getting plans at $17.99 a month now for some plans.
Oh, you mean the price? Yeah.
Yeah. So they're going to start pricing people out because they saw the crazy money that HBO Max was collecting and went, oh, we can do that.
Yeah, and it'll be only a matter of time before Disney finds a way to start.
Well, they're already on the way. That's already happening. In fact, they already have scale ready to go. I'm sorry, Disney Plus lovers, but all 10 of you out there, but you'll unfortunately see some price rises. If I had to pay for it,
hate Disney Plus. My main gripes with Disney Plus are pretty much what everybody else has, that not everything is there like they claim it is. I can't download movies to anything other than like iOS devices and stuff like that, like the smaller devices, to where it's like, why would I want to watch a movie on a fucking phone?
Yeah.
So like there's that aspect of it, but the other side of it, they have, great picture and sound as far as the delivery goes. They've gotten their kinks worked out. I haven't had any buggy problems like we did at first. They've got quite a nice 4K selection. So, I mean, that kind of aspect, they're ahead of the game as far as like some of the other guys, but
they spent a lot of billions to get there,
But like, I'm still having issues with HBO Max, like a lot of people are. I was, all jazzed about getting to watch Wonder Woman 84 in 4K and Dolby Atmos, and nope, sorry, not on Xbox or PS4.
Oh wow! See, and I get dumped. I get dumped on the Roku because they just recently launched their Roku app, and that's the streaming device I have throughout the house, several of them, and I use that most often, and especially in the media room, and it'll dump me off there halfway through something, and
I guess there was only a couple different devices that would carry the 4K for HBO Max, but
it's just
they would have tried. Here's the thing, like, okay, fine, great, it's on those one devices, which are like some Amazon stick and something else,
Fire Stick,
but like, if you were to actually have concentrated on like the game systems and stuff, which is what most people are probably using to watch this shit on, and upgraded that shit, you had over almost a month to get that done, and they didn't get it done.
No, you had extra time. You're right. I mean, they had extra time when both of those consoles were delayed, and I don't know.
Well, at least the PS4 and the Xbox One, they should have had it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, well, from the very beginning, but yeah, there we are. And no, we aren't going to talk spoilers, Shellbach. I don't want to submit folks to that who haven't seen it yet. I think
it's pretty obvious we all love it so far. I've yet to really run into anybody who's had a negative reaction to it. I think Doomcock has had the most grounded reaction to it, but I mean,
well, I can sing something's praises, but at the same time, I can be critical of elements of it. I mean, that, and that's unfortunately, I mean, that's what we do. I mean, the video I'm doing tomorrow, I'm very critical of celebrity culture while it collapses. And I mean, that's the whole point of the video tomorrow. But at the same time, I acknowledge that there's still celebrities in the world that are very grounded, and I think that's a good word. I think we need to use that more often to describe things.
Well, I mean, what I meant was he was a little more harsher on it.
No, I'm yeah. Oh, I knew where you were going.
I'm not even sure if he's seen the sequels.
Really.
Yeah, I'm not 100%.
Reach out and ask. But yeah, Parrot Head, Enjoy Nerdrotica is LDG Pixel's other channel. All right, absolutely. Thank you for that, and I will certainly check that out and subscribe. Andre Enrico says, "Good afternoon." Well, good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to you. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. Let's see. Yeah, I don't really want to talk about that. Again, this is pop culture primarily. We can certainly visit on that. And if you saw me over on Comics Division's channel on the other night, we talked at length about this and very critically. So absolutely. Andre Enrico says Cobra Kai is the best series of the last 5 years. I think it's very good. And again, Terminus Est, I trust, that we can certainly talk about this. But again, I'm not going to focus very much on it here when we're talking about entertainment, other than to say that it would be, like as Tom mentioned, a very good thing for us to have an effective vaccine for the purposes of going out to do and consume entertainment like movies and theme parks and things like that. I mean, it would be nice just to be able to go to a restaurant and have dinner, without having to be all, bundled up in masks and other PPE, but that is what it is. Have you seen Selena, Tom? Selena?
No, I didn't see it, but I did see it sitting there on Netflix, and I'm like, oh, interesting. And I'm assuming it's sorry. And I'm assuming it's a TV show about Selena the singer.
Yeah. It's been reported to me that it's very good, and Latino Slant speaks highly of it, Pauly. So I'm going to spend some time checking it out. I also am going to be over there hanging out with Pauly and Yeti Cast on both of their channels over the course of the next few weeks, talking about some really bad movies. So that'll be kind of cool. Oh, Matt G's here. Hey, Matt G. Good to see you, friend. Michelle Jolin says, I missed the whole after show thing of Game of Thrones. That was kind of cool. When they did that kind of like from season 4 to like season 6, right? They kind of abandoned it at season 7 in favor of doing like, behind the scenes stuff, right? Do you remember those where they would have this, the uber geeky nerds talking about the show afterwards? I enjoyed that, especially people who were really
kind of start with The Talking Dead or whatever. I think was the first one to really do that.
Yeah. Those, but I like those types of things because it's a collection of people like us that
they're corporate based though. That's my only problem, especially like the Star Trek ones. Really,
I don't even want to talk about Will Wheaton and that mess. That mess. That is such a stoogey thing. It really turned me off to Will Wheaton. You know what I mean? And it's not his fault. I mean, they hired him to do that gig. I guarantee you he's getting paid well, but it's a real shame. Yeah. And Kitty Bear. Yeah, it was. Dark Matter was fun for as long as it lasted. Yes. And I cannot wait to have seen them all. I'm still working on them. Almost done. Getting there. 66 Starship Alien says, hey, all, I agree with others I've heard. Releasing a weekly series seems to build interest as opposed to dumping the series all at once. Yeah, I think we're all on board with that. I really do. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and I just got to question Netflix's thought process, considering, like I said, they just brought the first 2 seasons on there. They, the rest of the world just finally discovered it. Why wouldn't you just, you could have had 2 months of this, and then it would have only been, like
2.5 months
or 9 months or whatever between, seasons as opposed to a year.
Yeah.
And I know it doesn't seem like that much longer, but it is in a weird way.
Well, and you create appointment television again. There's something to a ritual that I mean, Game of Thrones became a ritual.
And not this fucking dropping it in the middle of the night bullshit off.
Oh, you mean the Mandalorian?
Well, because they did the same thing for Cobra Kai. It was like 2 in the fucking morning.
Yeah, well, we were still on a stream when it dropped.
I was getting antsy. Right. I was like, I want to go watch Cobra Kai. No, that's my problem. Is like drop it at a decent fucking prime time, like 4, 5, 6, 7 o'clock. When it's actually in the afternoon, evening, to where people can watch it and it's not disrupting your sleep schedule or, and I mean, I know normal people don't give a shit, but like people like me, especially when it comes to something like Cobra Kai or Mandalorian, I mean, if you don't see it right away, everything gets spoiled for you the next morning on Twitter, no matter how hard you try not to.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, and this is good information, guys, from Kip Ellis. He says Karate Kid 2 and 3 is on Sony Movie Channel on Wednesday. Then you're ready to go. Awesome. Well, play catch up. You should enjoy it. There's a lot of callbacks in it. They do an excellent job of making you feel very attached to the show. But the show in and of itself, even if you never watched the films, still enjoyable from all reports. So I think that's just great. Very excited. Netflix should be offering exclusive content for the higher price sub. Well, they should. Then release to the general sub 6 months later. Doesn't make sense to pay the higher sub for the same content. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're getting 4K and other things like multiple screens, I mean, unfortunately, because of the way that different streaming accounts are used in my household and my family, I end up making sure everybody can see things simultaneously if need be. So and of course, Netflix is one of those that limits it to screens and so on and so forth. And a lot of people use their consoles, Runner.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. I mean, I do from time to time, and now that I have the PS5, which I still don't know how my parents were able to locate one. But now that I have the PS, yeah, I don't know what they did. I mean, it was magic. But anyway, so I ended up with a PS5 for Christmas. But and that's not bragging. I literally was taken aback. I was like, you could have spent this money in a lot of better ways. But anyway, I've had the opportunity to watch something streaming on there as well. And again, 4K is awesome. I just want to say that out loud. Hail, Rajesh Taylor. Good to see you. I'm glad to see you. You've been popping around regular. I appreciate you following me over from Comics Division and other places. So thank you so very much. It's awesome. We got lots of folks just popping in. Appreciate you all. You know what, Runner? I think you're right. I think it's hard to criticize Cobra Kai. I mean, there are some things to criticize for sure. I think.
Oh yeah. Well, like I always preface every review I do with, look, I understand this isn't high art. I understand this is basically a soap opera where people use their fists instead of their words sometimes.
Yeah.
And obviously, some rules don't apply here that come from the real world. And there, and certain rules that do apply that aren't in the real world. Yeah. But it's consistent in its rules. It's consistent in its universe.
Yeah.
It's consistent in its characters.
It's television. Yeah. It really is. And it's good television. But you're right. It's not high art, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a good story. Tell me a good story. Build me a world. Make the world a character. That's even better. If you for example, Dark Matter. Again, I'm going to go back to that show because it's the most recent good thing I was exposed to, other than obviously Cobra Kai and Mandalorian. A few things we talked about, the hope that we're talking about that's here and on the horizon. That show, the ship, the Raza, is a character. It's a character in the show. And it's an extension of another character that's in the show, which is the android. It's an amazing way to develop a world. It makes you feel really, really good. Atlantean says for $2 super chat says, hail culture. Well, hail the Atlantean. Good to see you, my friend. Looking forward to all of us hanging out on the Gaming Lounge on Thursday. The Gaming Lounge is a brand new channel. We have decided it's not just worthy of a show every week. It's going to be the launch of the channel on Thursday in our normal time slot. And then that channel will feature gaming content from all of the members of the Gaming Lounge. So be on the lookout for that. I'll promote it a few times on Twitter before the show, but we are very excited to launch that channel. So thank you for showing up, Atlantean, and giving me the opportunity to promote our latest endeavor. So thank you very much. And I agree with you, Shellbach. We have a lot to hope on the horizon for our creators. There are a lot of creators, creative types and actors that are leading some very positive charges, and Gina Carano is one of them. I think that I don't know, Tom, you probably would agree with that, right? Between Gina Carano, Matthew McConaughey, a few others, we're getting and then there are people that are just being quiet and are
Yeah.
keeping to themselves, which is brave in and of itself, maybe.
I mean, it's one of those things. If you're in the limelight, sooner or later you're going to say something that's going to trigger somebody. But my personal opinion is you're better off keeping your religion and your politics to yourself. Most people don't care, and if they do care, then and if it's going to affect their overall, view of you, then it's a them problem.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you just need to kind of move along. And again, there is this era of we don't need celebrities to tell us how to live, and that's true. Like, I think there's a lot of celebrities out there that take that, advice to heart, and they really don't kind of broadcast all of their dirty laundry or their what have you out in the Twitter sphere. But then there's some that do, and then there's times where, I may even agree with what they're saying, but maybe they shouldn't be. Gina Carano is one of those who hasn't necessarily sided with any
She hasn't said anything particularly controversial.
There's a few times where, I mean, if I was her publicist, I'd be like, yeah, I might wouldn't probably go to that.
Yeah. But see, and that's the thing. In tomorrow's video that I do, which will be released tomorrow midday here in the States, somewhere around 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 o'clock Eastern. That's usually my release window for my videos. But that one talks specifically about celebrity culture and stuff. So and I don't like to be overly critical of individuals, but I've been given so much ammunition that all I have to do is reflect their words. I don't have to say things.
Look, I'm not saying that celebrities should, everybody has the right to sit there and talk about their life to friends and whatnot. And if an interviewee is sitting there and they're asking you these questions and you're comfortable answering them, that's fine. But I also, don't need you out there pushing it down my throat. If I want to seek out said info, great. I can find it then if it's readily available. But I don't really care what you want me to do politically, because it's none of your fucking business where I stand.
Right. Yeah. You don't want to be proselytized to. And that's
exactly. Yeah. And especially from people who are, infinitely more rich, infinitely more powerful and influential and, have a lot more. It's like, use that power and influence in a good way. If you really believe that, then put your money where your fucking mouth is.
There you go. There you go. And of course, I want to say thank you very much to Mr. Tickle Trunk for the $2 Canadian super sticker with one of my favorite little animals, the little Shiba Inu that's farting hearts. So thank you for the farting heart doggy. Yeah. I appreciate it.
But I think that's the bigger problem most celebrities and people have with them, is that a lot of them love to preach, but they don't practice what they preach. When you got guys like, the prime example is always like Bono. He's a guy who always acts like his shit don't stink and he does everything in the world to make it better while he's sitting there hopping around in his fucking jet.
But he buys a carbon offset, Tom. Don't forget that. He buys the offset. Okay.
Yeah, I know. It sounds just as stupid as it sounds.
It is. It's dumb. But see, that's the thing. I can afford to pay for the carbon offset, so it's okay. Well, thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, it's entitled bullshit.
It's a weird thing. It sounds even more pompous when you say things like that. But
no, absolutely.
Rajesh Taylor, the chat last night was amazing on Comics Division's channel. Tom, I wish you would stop by once in a while. You're more than invited.
I know you. Mondays is tough, but yeah.
I know. Well, you can always pop by on a Thursday. We stay up late on Thursday nights.
On which channel?
Comics Division.
Oh, I'm always there on Thursdays.
Yeah, I know. But I
oversleep.
Yeah. Well, hey, dude, you need sleep, guys. Every once in a while, send him a tweet, or mention him in a tweet about sleeping, because he should do more of it. Doesn't sleep enough.
I think I forgot how.
Yeah, and this is actually a good point. HBO did pick up a lot of new subs or trial members, right? Just to see what Wonder Woman might be like. and everybody's going to have an opinion about that film. Mine was pretty strongly not in favor of it, but I not for any other reason than I think it was too busy. And I know that a lot of people had a negative opinion, but I really don't want to rehash all of that all over again. But yeah. Um, oh wow, Rajesh is like, what's a restaurant? Sorry, I'm from England. Yeah, I think you mentioned last night that 90% of all restaurants in the UK have at this point closed and failed. It was something ridiculous. I don't remember what you said, but was an amazing statistic. I took that to heart from last night's chat. So it was pretty cool. Selena is a reimagining of the Jennifer Lopez biopic on Selena. Thank you, executive producer Sol Leibowitz. I appreciate that.
Is it
By the way,
really that, or is it just actually telling the story of Selena? She is a real person.
she was.
Yeah.
For sure.
I know. I'm not trying to be condescending. I'm just joking.
No. Yeah. Talking Dead was cool. Absolutely. And that's the kind of thing we were talking about that we really want to see. I like
I think YouTube kind of took over that play.
We do. That's true. We watch something and then we can burn it down or we can build it up or we can fall somewhere in between. And I like that. I mean, like I said, the best things I've done is retroactively react to something that's 10, 20 years old or even 3 or 4 or 5
Well,
years
I think the best thing that happened in the last couple of weeks was Disney coming out and realizing, or at least finally showing that they realized that they need fans, that they can't piss everybody off. And they showed their desperate hand by just how much, one measly writer's room fucker can screw everything up real quick.
Yeah.
Because you had probably the single most talked about Star Wars moment in even probably, I would even goes to say it may have caused a bigger stir than The Force Awakens, almost, not quite. But you had a situation like since The Force Awakens where you had a large portion of the fan base on hand that was clamoring about it. You had normies watching the show. I think Andre was pointing out, like Baby Yoda or Grogu, whatever you want to call him, he's gone way beyond the Star Wars fans. I saw, I don't know how many videos when I was just skimming through my YouTube and I watch whatever in the background and whatnot. And, they'd had kids on and stuff asking them what they want for Christmas and stuff on news things.
Mm-hmm.
And a good majority of the kids, it was either Baby Yoda or Mando.
Yeah.
So you can't, and it wasn't, necessarily in a situation where they would be prompted to say such things.
Yeah, well, it wasn't Ray. Nobody wanted Ray. Really.
True.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They really threw away the biggest opportunity I think they ever had with the sequel trilogy. And, they only realize it now with this little show that they have on their streaming service that is created a monster in, Baby Yoda. And then, eventually gave us the satisfaction of Luke Skywalker, in a triumphant return in form, in a respectful way, maybe not, Mark Hamill exactly, but Mark Hamill's voice anyway.
Well, regardless, a lot of what's happened since then has been a big win for the fans, no matter how you feel about the show or how you feel about Disney Star Wars. And same thing with this whole, the whole deal with the Marvel at the Disneyland attraction.
Yeah. No, and that's the cool thing. When I get a chance to do that, because there's some stuff I've got, some photos and some blueprints and some other stuff.
Well, I'd like to think they're learning their lesson that Captain Marvel is not the way.
Well, you're not going to see a lot of that there. Pim's area is going to be like a bistro, like a bar and grill kind of an area, that serves beverages and food. You've got the Spider-Man attraction, which looks really cool. The web slinging vehicles that you're going to ride on. There's a lot of neat things that'll come along with that. And, there's one element missing that I'm still really unhappy about, which is the Iron Man coaster that was supposed to come along with all of it.
How many of the rights are still wrapped up with that other deal? I know there was some.
Here's the thing. So you have, it's a west of the Mississippi rule. So the Marvel stuff that has been used on the East Coast by Universal is still fair game on the West Coast for Disney, because they never built anything associated with any of those characters while Universal controlled them or had licensing to them. So with Spider-Man, they negotiated the rights to utilize the character, outside of the films with Sony. So that's already solved. They still have the opportunity to use Fantastic Four, X-Men, a whole lot of other things on the West Coast. So it's quite possible.
Well, and I hope
You
they
can
don't make
see.
the same mistakes they did with Galaxy's Edge here. And
Well,
seeing the Spider-Man deal is, to me, at least a step in the right direction.
yeah, I mean, think of it this way, Tom. Somewhere in that environment, to be able to see what looks like a legitimate human being, a humanoid Spider-Man, jump up, leap through the air, cast a web, and disappear, that's something you'll get to see. And I think a lot of people will enjoy that. But we'll see. We'll see. Even if it's just the first time when they open it, or maybe it's the multiple times that they'll be able to utilize the technology, because it'll be there, although it'll be a little labor intensive. But that's something that exists. So, and just for fun, if you don't want to wait for my video that'll come out on that here in the future, check out Stuntronics, Stuntronics, Stuntronics. There are videos on them on YouTube. So.
Well, I gotta address this thing that
Sure.
executive producer Saul Leibowitz is saying.
Oh, sure.
I get what you're saying, Saul, but like, it's a true story. If it was like Selena was a movie and then they turned it into a series, that'd be one thing, but it's based on actual events. So I would assume that the next Netflix series isn't pretty much related into the 1997 movie, outside of just the fact that they're based on the same character. Because that's the other thing, is that's well over 20 years old. I mean, that's like assuming that every Elvis movie that was made for, the last 30 years is related in some way.
Yeah. And I just wanted to get this, because I guess I misunderstood the numbers, but Culture Casino, that was the overseas visitors foot flow from March 2020, has dropped by 97%, along with the income generated from tourism. Holy crap. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry, dude. God dang it. Man. That decimates businesses, decimates them. That's unbelievable. Especially, the UK has a lot of tourism. I know I was headed there. Just nuts. Just nuts. Hey, Kate, good to see you. Makeup. All right. That must be in reference to the Selena thing. So, Groku makeup collab. I don't know what this is, but okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I had to bring up the Baby Yoda. I apologize. And I don't know.
Possibly think Baby Yoda's ugly.
A lot of people do. I didn't think it. I can appreciate his appeal to some, but that's okay. I mean, some people think that Kristen Wiig is attractive, and I'm like thinking, no.
Well, here's my thing. The Yoda's always been my favorite character.
Me too.
So like all this like wee squee stuff people are doing over Boba Fett, that's what I do over anything Yoda.
All
So
right,
when I
well,
saw
understand.
Baby Yoda, it was just like that was like, you got me. You
Yeah.
got me. Yeah, like
Tom, I will build you an animatronic Yoda then. That will be my gift to you one day. It'll show up in a big box.
You know what? You could probably build me, actually, to be a lot easier that I've been looking for. An actual decent Kermit the Frog puppet that looks
easy.
Easy. I can't find any decent ones. They're all either too small, they're not even remotely close to looking like the real thing.
Yeah,
there's a guy on eBay who charges like I think $250 for one, and he claims to have worked for Jim Henson, but I don't know. You're like, that's a lot of change.
I might actually have Creature Shop measurements. I'll have to look it up, see if I still got them.
Well, I imagine it. Yeah, it can't be the toughest thing to put together, and I figured
you. And I would replace the cardboard or the balsa wood with a 3D printed stuff to make it a little easier to manipulate. But anyway,
would ever change his diaper? I think he's like that creature on Futurama where he poops once in a while, and it's that big metal thing.
Oh, let me answer that. No, yeah, Max. You can find Marvel characters in Florida in Universal. You cannot find them at Disney World. They are not allowed to have them residing in the parks in Disney World, anything that Universal used, which is why at Epcot Center, they're building the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind coaster, which is going to be awesome. It's a show coaster, some unique technology, really going to be cool. You guys will dig the heck out of it. But that attraction is one of the few that they're allowed to build that is Marvel, because those characters were never used by Universal in their parks. So, but now west of the Mississippi, of course, the Avengers campus is going to be located in Disneyland, actually in the park called California Adventure. So DCA, we refer to it as. But yes, that particular park will have the Marvel campus, but you won't see the Marvel campus in Florida until they somehow negotiate an exchange with Universal, which could happen, although Universal spent an awful lot of money upgrading their Hulk coaster, which is located, I believe, in Islands of Adventure there. But anyway.
And Andre asks about Cobra Kai merchandise. There's some.
Yeah.
There's some figures, jackets, shirts, all that kind of stuff. There's a video game.
Yeah.
Which I just ordered. I just pre-ordered the soundtrack.
You can actually order a gi, Cobra Kai gi. If you are into martial arts and stuff, you can.
Yeah, Jeffrey Turner, aka
Mega Jetty One.
Mega Jetty One. He went and got the jacket.
Yeah.
So
it's very cool.
Yeah, there's stuff out there. It's slowly there. Here's the thing with Cobra Kai was it was a pretty big hit for YouTube when it was on, but people forget that the show's been around now since 2018. Like, I mean, yeah, this is season 3. We're 3 years deep into the show now. A lot of people are just
finding it. It's a Netflix. Yeah. No, and it's a real shame. I mean, it always was, right? It always was a real shame that people weren't seeing some really good stuff because it was on the weird pay for YouTube thing.
Well, then even they had it for free though. I mean, and he was still doing very well for free. Like the first season, I think the average episodes, at least the last time I looked, I mean, and this was when season 2 had come out because we were watching the numbers. Mm-hmm. The first season, I mean, each video had like 40, 50 million views at that point. That's pretty good.
Well, I think that Michelle Jolin is right here. Jolin is right. Yoda was using mind tricks with the diapers. So, or maybe he was floating the poo. They're just floating the poo out or whatever. Maybe, I don't know. It was weird, but that robe had to smell like butt. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Andre, there's action figures on I can't remember what website has them, but you could probably find them around. If
are they those inexpensive ones? The what do you call them?
No, they're not. They're, well, I don't know about that. Let's see here. Because I was thinking about getting them.
But there is an awful lot of good on the horizon, in my opinion. In we're still going to get bad. I mean, a lot of the entertainment you're going to see over the next 2 and 3 years are going to be fairly bad. But you're also going to see good. I mean, you're going to see stuff that was written that is going to be great. And I think you have an opportunity to see at least 3 really good Star Wars related shows. I think so. Okay. And Thomas brought up some action figures, which I'm going to share with everybody. Here they come. Ba-dang. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
They have their own CobraKaiStore.com.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting these.
You should.
Yeah, I got to make sure I have enough money after I pay rent.
Yeah. Look at that. That's awesome.
I do have the, I don't know if it was NECA that did them, but I do have another one from the original ones that came out a couple of years back. They're really articulated. And they have like real clothing and shit on them. And then I have some of the original figures from back in the day.
And are those NECA figures, or who do you think makes those?
They might be NECA. If not, they look more like the Kenner style.
Yeah, they do very, very Kenner.
Or I mean Hasbro, I mean.
Yeah, well, Kenner.
Yeah, same company now. Because there was the Marvel ones. They look like they have the same articulation as the Hasbro Marvel line.
Yeah, this is an interesting statement. Oh, wait, no, wrong thing. The chat jumps. See, guys, that's what happens when the chat jumps. There we go. Grogu is going to talk regular English, and that creeps me out. Think about Yoda not speaking the way he does. he wouldn't sound as wise. I think
Well,
that's true.
he may not.
Yeah, I mean, clearly he can communicate. I mean, obviously
Well, and that's what I was kind of wondering is like, because there were some people like making they're jumping to the conclusion anyway, without making it sound like a bad thing, that, Grogu may be a little special. That's why he could only talk to Jedi, and he just, his own form of like autism. He's 50 years old and he probably should be able to articulate words, but he just can't.
Yeah, and this would be really funny, Rajesh. Yeah, and of course, everybody got the airplane reference.
But then again, there was that one episode where it seemed like he was trying to talk to Mando a couple times, and then, it seems like he's aware of certain things, but then other things, sometimes he just. How come Tom's mouth doesn't?
I know, Jesse. I'm
not on camera. What actually happened is I got some of my shit half-assed set up, and then I have an extension USB cord for my one camera, and it crapped out on me.
Oh,
it kept I thought it was the camera before, but I learned that it was the cord. Yeah. So I bought a whole new camera, which wasn't that expensive, really, but I needed it.
But now you can have a Gremlin cam.
Yeah, I got 2 different cams now. I just got to be able to figure out how to.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to set up 4 cams, and at some point, I'm going to do like the news producers do, and I'm going to turn to this cam to give the news story, and I'm going to turn to this cam to do the commentary. It's going to be great, right? So, anyway, might be fun. Oh, Memes is here. What's up, Memes? Guys, you should check out Memes. He gives us some very thoughtful opinions, even if he's often wrong. I'm just kidding. But check him out. He's a good dude. I like him a lot. We've got, let's go Voltron Force. Yeah, actually. So, Tom, did you see that giant robot they like built in Japan and like actually have walking around like a real life Gundam?
Yeah, actually, I did.
That's amazing.
Hey, well, they finally
one of those
technology to good use.
Yeah, I think we should. You don't need super soldiers when you have Gundam or Voltron or for real.
It looked like fucking Voltron to me, but yeah, same difference, I suppose. I mean, or now somebody's gonna yell at me because it's not.
Get over yourself. They're big giant robots.
Yeah,
big robots. Yeah. So.
No, that's neat as hell.
Oh, no, GTA soon. Jack,
GTA. Must be doing a stream.
Oh, cool.
But no, I think it's kind of cool. I love cool big robots and neat things like that. I like those kind of toys.
We should do, actually, that would be another fun movie project to do. Is to like try to, have a giant robot project. I just think that'd be fun. There's so many different ideas.
I could write a fucking robot killer movie or something, man. Easy.
Yeah. I'm still working on my horror western. I'm now at my 4th swing through.
See, now, like, here's my thing. Like, if I had a movie studio, I'd be totally like Roger Corman or
Ed Wood.
Or, well, I wouldn't know if I go that far, but like, I wouldn't be making like. I mean, once in a while, I'd try to make a decent movie. But I'd be like making total fucking schlock, guys. Let's be real here. It'd be a bunch of rubber monster movies and killer. Just all kinds of weird shit.
Godzilla! It'd be awesome.
I'd make all kinds of weird crap like that. All kinds of weird crap. Let's say they guarantee they never let me near a real franchise.
Jack of all casuals is like, can I pilot the Gundam? That'd be so great. Liberty Prime. Yeah. Gosh. Oh, you know what? If you could so when you go to Universal Studios, they actually have decently sized robots that interact with the guests, right. Optimus Prime and stuff. Those are always really fun. So,
go ahead and do the super chat.
Oh yeah. Is that Peruvian Souls?
Yep.
Okay, so Diego Flores for 5 Peruvian Souls. Thank you very much, Diego. Appreciate that. What if Favreau designed Grogu not to talk as a gag, like how Maggie never talks on the episode she was about to talk? They cut it.
I think so. I'm curious if we'll ever even see him again, to be honest.
I think you'll see him again. I think you will.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I don't think EVS is wrong that we may not ever see him again.
Well, he was kind of, I'm going to say this and everybody's going to hate me. He was kind of an anchor for Mandalorian.
No, I got you. I totally got you. And I get to understand people that are saying, no, they can't take him out of the show. But then again, unless they do some kind of like crazy time jump or come up with some convoluted way to bring him back, I mean, he's kind of where he's supposed to be for now.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Well,
kind of agree with what EBS is saying. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I know part of it he's just being kind of facetious with a little bit of tin hat kind of fan stuff, but
Well, I just know as we get closer to the end
yeah.
of things, we're starting to see that they're looking to. You've got a Kenobi show on the horizon that's going to be just troubling, and then you have. I'm trying to use good words here because this is a hopeful show, and you are going to see a return of Luke.
Yeah, well, if that's the case, then when we do see Luke, we'll see Baby Yoda, and that'll be wherever he winds up. And unless it's just as a quick cameo here and there in Mandalorian, I just don't know what they're going to do with it. Because I kind of understand and see where Mandalorian season 3 is going to go, and that's also taken into consideration. It may jump a bit off of Boba Fett. Who knows? I know you know more than I do, probably, because you have a little bit more of an inside track on that, but. I mean, again, I'm with Star Wars. I really don't care that much because I don't have a Boba fetish. The Mandalorian has really been touch and go. I enjoyed the Luke part, but I was not in that camp where it made me cry. To me, Cobra Kai got me more emotional than Mandalorian did. Like, I mean, I was getting physically excited with Cobra Kai. Like, I mean, stomping my feet and just.
Oh, I know. You can get jiggle when you get excited.
Yeah, the jiggle, whatever you want to call it. Like, where you're going, here we go, kind of thing. That whole thing. When you get wound up. I don't get that with Mandalorian. I don't get anywhere near that. And honestly, with Star Wars, I don't think I've had that since maybe The Force Awakens, and even then, it was pretty subdued. Because you get into Force Awakens and. Even now, looking back on it, I've seen it maybe 3 times since it came out. 4, well, maybe more than that because I did see it in theater at least a couple times. But it doesn't hang with you like the other Star Wars movies, and that whole entire thing has really kind of made me want to distance myself from the franchise because it's just not. To me, it's just 3 movies. Like at this point, like it's just and 6 movies. Okay, I mean, I can accept the prequels. But if you look at that whole like map they put out yesterday, there's a lot going on here where,
Well, look, none of that stuff's gonna ever gonna be accepted. They really don't understand just how much the fans are gonna hate what's in store for them from the Project Luminous.
And we've almost got basic look, I've said it before, and I think I've even told you in private who's told us this, but like we have direct confirmation from somebody who works directly on Mandalorian, what's kind of going down behind the scenes. And there's a push and pull right now. There's 2 camps. It's clear as day. And what we keep hearing now is multiverses, or you said pocket universe. Is that the words you used?
Yeah.
But look at how they're trying to make some big deal out of the High Republic when all it is a fucking book series. This is what KK's camp's doing, folks.
They're trying to undermine the corrective actions that are being taken by others. So, and
otherwise, why do you think they made such a big deal out of nothing?
It was it was a nothing burger that's now been introduced twice.
Yeah. Actually, they've talked more about the fucking High Republic than they have anything else. Yep. But no, I know you wanted to stay more positive, but
oh no, absolutely, no, we can definitely cover that. But yes, I mean, and I'm not allowed to talk about to a certain extent. This. There's certain stuff I can't say that once some more information comes out, I'll be more comfortable talking about. But you're going to see some divergent storylines. That's how I'm going to keep saying those words. So take those with whatever grain of salt you want, but they're legit. So, and memes just for fun. Just if you wanted to have robot muscles, you actually would use electrically controlled activated liquids in bladders to do more effective and muscles that require less energy to actually lift things. So that's actually some of the tech that they're looking to exploit in micro.
Wouldn't use hydraulics?
No, it's very heavy, and it requires a lot. For example, one of the reasons why the Yeti does not work anymore in the coaster that's in Animal Kingdom Resort, the reason that it doesn't work in there any longer is because they basically they employed 17 hydraulic engines, motors, presses, whatever you'd like to call them, that essentially exert the force of a 747 jumbo jet, and the activation and motion of those cracked the foundation that actually they reside on, and the Yeti, the steel that the Yeti resides on as well. So that will all permanently be stuck in strobe mode or B mode unless they actually do massive rehab to that attraction. It was one of the worst puppeteering mistakes they ever made, because they should have gone along with more of a puppet style of animation rather than all that animatronic work at that scale. So anyway, that's a long engineering conversation nobody cares to dings about. And I know that we need to wrap up here in the next couple of minutes. So I'm going to get through the chat. We're going to talk about, a couple of hopeful thoughts on the way out, and then we're going to wrap it up, guys. So thank you so much for being here today. Want to say hello to Steve Kenobi, who dropped in and said, howdy, Culture. Hope you are well today. I hope you are well today, too. Steve, I'm glad you stopped by. I'm concerned that you crashed an actual helicopter into a mountain, Jesse. So hopefully that's a game thing, because dang, that's not.
Jesse, you almost have to question that.
I do, actually, don't I? I think I might. Soul Assassin showed up. I didn't get a chance to highlight a bunch of your comments. I feel bad. Believe me, I do. I like highlighting everybody's stuff. Some of us don't want to see him again. Well, there is a camp that says, I don't want to see Baby Yoda again. And yes, Silent Bob, Silent Baby Yoda. I like that. That's pretty good. What's this about Mace Windu, though? Can't talk about any of that. He got tossed out a window 20 years ago, Rowan. Yeah, but all of a sudden he forgot his force, power and everything else. So I don't know. Anyway, yeah, and you're right, Steve. It's trying to retcon the prequel trilogy. Kenobi is retconning the OT, and the ST is not being retconned. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I have information to the contrary, my good friend. Sorry, not sorry. I feel maternal about Grogu. Oh, well, that's fine. It'll be very fine. Tom sounds dead inside. I don't agree with that. You guys are
depends on what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's true. Soul Assassin, you are not wrong. You are not wrong. Considering 2 and 3 of those projects that I know for sure weren't even more than development. They were like thoughts. They were floating out there. They were surprises. They a couple 3 days ahead of time, they told those people that, hey, we're going to announce this. They're like, holy shit. So yeah. Okay. Is it okay if I take a shot of tequila with my salt? Certainly. Absolutely. Yeah. I was an old school guy, I'd bite the lime and like my salt off my hand, but I don't do that anymore. Yeah, no, I know spider silk contracts with humidity, absolutely, but you need the electrostimulation model. I'll have to demonstrate that sometime.
I think just to be able to harness that and use it would cost would be so.
Yeah, it's very. Yeah, there's electrochemical reactives that work much better in a bladder that will expand and contract.
I'm just trying to think of to be able to get the spider silk to begin with, get enough to actually do what you need to do. That's a lot compared to just making something.
Yeah, and some people feel the same way that Tom does, guys. I mean, I allow everybody to feel the way they feel. You like what you like, what love you love. I'll just call out the things that I see, and hopefully we all can part as friends, because I'm gonna have my opinions, and I'm going to point out some flaws. And when I see flaws, I can't help it. Holy cow! Look at this 2-for-1 Western bacon burger, Western bacon cheeseburger. I think is what Olivia and Macaro is talking about at Carl's Jr. of Forever. Oh man. I would love to have one of those right now. I'm starving. Gosh, you guys, I'm hungry for food. Yeah, they did screw up, dude. They let our princess die, and not only literally, but figuratively. It's just bad. Tom does have the perfect radio voice. So with that being said, and of course the callback to the the great Harvey Weinstein assistant Leslie Headland. Let's talk about something hopeful on the way out the door. Tom, you got any thoughts and anything you want to promote before we say goodbye to everybody?
Hopefully my Cobra Kai game gets here tomorrow.
Ooh, that's fun.
So I can check that out, and I got some time to check it out. Otherwise, I know we got another video that's going to be dropping soon. We dropped a Star Wars video this morning. Other than that, there's a few things cooking. Yeah, just the High Council tonight, of course, and
of course, yeah. Oh man, did you see Jesse and Jeff on the drinking game? I mean, shenanigans.
I popped in for a few minutes, but yeah, I didn't get to see too much.
Yeah, dude, Mary was lit up like Christmas lights. It was amazing.
And otherwise, we got Mr. H, I think, tomorrow on the morning show.
Cool. I'm looking forward to that. And then, of course, my video drops usually about the time you guys are done. So, yeah, I love that. And we got good timing. Anyway, you guys, I really appreciate everybody stopping by. The only thing I'm going to promote is, the stuff I'm on tonight, which is the Trekking on Tuesdays over at Wes Moody's channel, where we talk about good Star Trek. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, where it's just the stuff that was not made by current Star Trek creators that we can get away with showing and sharing with each and every one of you, including Star Trek Continues, which was the Vic Mignogna series, which I think is still the best of all the fan-created things. So be sure to check that out if you get a chance, guys, or check out any of the ones that are over there on West Moody's stream. He certainly deserves more subs. He's criminally undersubbed, and I think it is my goal in life this year in 2021 to make sure he gets his 1,000+ subscribers because he deserves them. He's our Joe Rogan. He does a really good job of interviewing, and he does a really good job of sitting back and listening to people. And that's often hard to do when you're a YouTuber. You feel compelled to speak constantly, which is why I never shut up. But beyond all of that, guys, thanks for joining us. All of the new folks that have come over to our channels, thank you so much for joining us. Please stop by and share your thoughts on any video or any live stream. If you catch something late, please do so. And this is excellent news. The Expanse drops tomorrow. So it's great news, guys. Great news. Anyway, be sure to, of course, take care of yourself, take care of others, wash your hands, of course. And until next time, bye.